What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Season 5 History Things podcast from the field. Very excited to be rolling along here. We got our day started. We got this whole program started in Winchester, Virginia. We got lots more coming up for you. Before we get into sort of the next bits about the story, ransom of Hagerstown, and we move this forward, we needed to stop, peel off, and see an old friend of ours. Matt and I are here at one of our favorite battlefields to experience, to learn from, to stand on the hallowed ground of. Of course, we are coming to you in this moment from the sunken road at Antietam National Battlefield, soon to be known as the Bloody Lane if you're looking at this through the lens of the 1862 fight that was here. But Matt and I are here in what year? 1864. It's 1864. Now, why are we back here at 1864? There was no battle fought here at that time. That's because much as we like to come here and tour the battlefield, learn about it when our friends come to visit us, we like to bring them here, take them around on a tour, show them the what's up. John Brown Gordon, one of our favorite Civil War bullet magnets to talk about, does exactly this. He comes here in 1864 while Jubal Early's forces are on the move, essentially to show his friends and other people around what happened here. So, Matt, take us through the John Brown Gordon tour here of the Sunken Road.
Sure, Pat. So, as Pat said, Gordon is actually going to be moving with his division through Sharpsburg, and while doing so, he decides to take his staff officers out here to the battlefield, literally taking them down into this lane to where he had commanded the 6th Alabama just 2 years earlier.
And he said, here is where I got schwacked 5 times.
Yes, as Pat said, it's going to be 5 holes in Gordon due to the fight here at Antietam. He does survive, obviously, goes on to have a full career in the Confederate service and a full life, but he wanted to show his staff officers the very ground that he bled into. Now, Gordon's command is going to go on from here. They actually will be involved in attempts to take the Maryland Heights from the Maryland side before Early and the rest of his forces continue moving east. Those efforts, another failure to take those high ground and the fortifications on it.
So what I enjoy about this is the juxtaposition. Now, we've talked about this sequentially, non-sequentially throughout the entire history of the podcast, but whenever we come to this moment here on the battlefield in 1862, we always talk about how absolutely insane it is that John Brown Gordon has the experience that he has. He's wounded in his body 4 times. He's shot through his face for a 5th wounding, and by all intents and purposes, that should be the end of the Civil War story. Whether he lives or dies, it should be over for John Brown Gordon. He should be dead based on all the wounds he did receive, but yet, like Matt says, he does go on to heal and fight throughout the rest of this war as a part of our Monocacy campaign here in 1864, very famously there for the surrender at Appomattox. In fact, he's part of that very cinematic and majestic scene that him and Chamberlain both write about with the furling of the flags and things like that at Appomattox Courthouse. But I always have to come back to the context of this moment here, because he talks about the 3rd attack at Monocacy, which you'll hear us get to in a few short days here on the podcast. He always talks about the violence and how that part of that attack stayed with him, considering the amount of troops engaged and the small space they were in. And again, you'll hear us talk about it, but this is a guy who experienced right here in this road 5 potentially fatal woundings more or less simultaneously and survived it. And he will talk about the battle coming in our story with this year's From the Field with reverence to the violence and atrocities that somehow that was greater than this moment here for him. It's just kind of one of those wild things, and we did want to take a moment in time to come here and just sort of acknowledge that it was not lost on John Brown Gordon that he was here again.
Oh, yeah.
And his experience was wild, to say the least, and his staff officers, some of whom who were not here for the moment itself, needed to get hip to the experience of the Civil War bullet magnet that John Brown Gordon is.